Hello everyone, I'm Ian.
I'm Grace.
I'm Austin.
And welcome back to Is It Worth It?
Wheel of Fortune!
Movies. Wheel of Worth It!
I like that.
Worthless.
Or not worth it.
Yeah.
But this is the show where, what do we do on this show?
So, we go on IMDb and we find movies that are at least 20 years old and have less than 100 reviews. We smack them on this wheel and then we spin the wheel and see which movie we get and we judge. We watch it to see if you should or not.
And this is actually the last episode of Season 1.
I know, it's been a ride. It's been
It
an
has.
emotional roller coaster.
In many ways.
Sure is.
Many ways.
I'm feeling a bit tired after last episode.
That was definitely a tiring episode.
Yeah.
Even though this will be our last Worth It, it is not going to be the last video of the season, because we're doing our own version of the Oscars, but for the movies we've watched. Because these are the movies that would never be considered for the Oscars.
That's right.
We call it the Worthies.
The Worthies.
The Worthies.
Yeah.
It's good, I like that name. The
That's
Worthies.
So if
The Worthies Originals.
But that will be Sunday. Today is today. So should we spin the wheel?
We should spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. Alright, let's get it.
Alright.
Let's go.
Do it! Do it! Do it!
Good spin. Do it.
Yes!
It's a new one.
Ooh, oh god, I hope it's mine. I want it to be mine so bad.
Oh, I will will it to be mine.
The movie is 1999's Freestyle.
Yes!
The Victories
Yes!
of Dan Gable.
Ah, yes! Okay, I'm so excited for this one because let me read you the IMDb page. I'm so happy that we got that. Oh my goodness.
So this is what we're going to be sending out the year on.
Okay, here it is. Documentary detailing the life of wrestling legend Dan Gable. We're watching a documentary about a wrestling champion.
Any particular reason?
I found it.
Like, is he at least like a WWE wrestler with a personality, or is it just some like college like wrestler like? Okay.
So, are you a fan of wrestling?
Not particularly.
No.
I just think it's funny because, like, this is the kind of thing you're like, it's like a Thursday night, your dad is watching HBO, and you have nothing better to do, and you just sit down. And so we decided, yes, let's watch this. Well, I decided it, but, you know.
Freestyle. The Victories of Dan Gable.
Dan, freestyle.
The Victories of Clark Gable.
Baseball.
You lied to us!
Oh my god, he's hairy.
It's, an hour 48 minutes of this.
Yeah, it's just him doing pull-ups.
My living room was a total shambles because I would play football there all the time. I'd carry that ball in and around and about and crash into the things, tip over stuff.
Yeah, I just run around the house smashing lamps.
I remember growing up.
We can't control it. We don't know what to do.
He works out so much, he's too strong to beat.
Does look like an animatronic, doesn't it?
It's terrifying. That guy doesn't make it out of the uncanny valley.
3, 2, 1, 0. 2, 1, 0, 2.
No, you're just supposed to stop after 0.
Yeah.
He also probably
He also
trained harder
framed
than
most
that
of his opponents
I've
for
ever,
child pornography.
been associated with. Without this reckless
One
abandonment,
really fun thing about this
people aren't
movie,
scared
since
of
none of
you.
us know who the hell Dan Gable is with every scene you have to decide, is that Dan Gable?
Yeah.
Alright,
Let's do it.
shall we get into this?
Yeah.
Alright.
Do we want to begin with my Dan Gable's information?
Please.
Or
Yeah, so this documentary.
So this was a documentary.
it follows a man named Dan Gables, who I'm going to go ahead and talk about a little bit. Just, some fun facts, some things about
Dan
him.
of Green Gable.
I'm going to go ahead and read some facts about him from famousbirthdays.com, and then I'm going to read an ESPN article updating, where he's at today and how he's doing.
Oh.
So, first of all, he's the 5th most popular person born in Waterloo, Iowa. He's losing out to, notably, Adam Devine, also Darren Sproles and Emily West. Don't know who either of those are, but he's the 2nd most popular wrestler born in Iowa, behind Seth Rollins. And he is the second most popular 71-year-old wrestler, only behind Sergeant Slaughter himself. And right behind Dan Gable, as the third most popular 71-year-old wrestler, is Carlos Colon. So with those out of the way, let me go ahead and...
Entirely necessary.
With those out of the way. With that, you know...
Moving on.
Now that we've covered that important business. So where is he today?
Well, today, back home, he's got a 45-acre spread he's put together in pieces over the years, a place to live out his uneasy retirement.
Uneasy?
These are ESPN's words. I don't know what crackhead wrote this, but prepare yourself.
Living with the guilt of thousands murdered in various wrestling competitions.
A place to live out his uneasy retirement. This is where he was before the wrestling tournament and where he would return when it ended. Today, a month after the IOC decision, referring to the Olympic decision on wrestling being excluded from the 2020 Olympics.
Which is weird.
A month after the IOC decision, he sinks down into his hot tub, which overlooks a wide yard of snow. Downrange from the two cement deer... Downrange from the two cement deer that on occasion real deer like to hump. Gable thinks this is hilarious.
And he watches it from his hot tub.
He's soaking after his intense daily workout. There's a sign above his head that says, "Whatever happens in the hot tub, stays in the hot tub."
What?
Okay, so we can say for sure...
This is a real ESPN article.
We can say for certain that Dan Gable is jerking off to deer up in his hot tub.
Whatever happens in the hot tub stays in the hot tub. Alright, let's begin the summary.
What actually happened in the documentary?
Okay, so it starts with him as a kid. It talks about his childhood in Waterloo, Iowa. He was a rambunctious kid, regularly breaking things at home.
Kicking the dog, smashing lamps.
He would just be so rambunctious and like destroy things at the house and then run away from time to time, which his parents got used to. He'd just be gone for like a couple days.
I thought it was just a couple hours.
That was just one instance.
Oh. Yeah, and then this was basically just covering his general life up to the year 1998.
Yeah. It's a weird setup for a documentary. It was kind of chronological, intercut with scenes of him in the present day.
It was kind of like, it was like framed by this like 1997 like college wrestling championship thing, but in between it would give like little bits of backstory. It's kind of like Reservoir Dogs.
It kind of is, yeah.
It's basically Reservoir Dogs, but with wrestling.
Yeah, and one man.
They talk about how he was, like, really into, like, working out as a child, but he was, like, a really skinny, scrawny dude. But he was, like, really good at wrestling because he figured out how to tire out his opponent and use their own strength against them or something like that. And then he went,
He went to college.
He did good in high school, and he went to college.
In high school,
Iowa State,
in high school, this was high school, right?
I believe it was college, actually.
It was high school and college combined.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he went undefeated in his entire high school wrestling career.
Yeah, didn't lose a single match. At least, actual sanctioned high school match.
Yeah.
And it shows a tournament between him and another person from Oklahoma State.
Larry Owings.
And he was 182, or he was 181
wins
to 0.
He was 181-0.
He was 181 undefeated, and then he lost this one between him and Owings, and then all of the media was like,
Dan
Gable
failure, absolute loser. Like,
I don't think.
And they were all printing 181 to 1. Like, oh god.
Oh no!
Oh god, he did so terrible.
His batting average will never recover. And then it basically goes on completely blanked on what happened next. Because this wasn't in chronological order, so it's so hard to...
I guess from this point on, it kind of starts moving on to the Olympic career he had in his Olympic...
Oh yeah, he did go to the Olympics.
He talks about his Olympic call-up.
He went to the 1972 Munich Olympics.
He did,
beat the Russians.
And he won without having a single point scored on him at the Olympics as well.
Yeah.
Another kind of
One
fun
gold.
fact was something from the documentary.
He was a good ass wrestler.
Yeah,
He was really good.
Yeah, like that's pretty much this documentary is. Dan Gables was really.
Dan Gables was this
at
amazing guy who only lost one wrestling match in his entire life.
Yeah.
Is that really the one he lost?
I mean-
he never lost another one after that either,
It's wild.
including his Olympic career, which
That's
was
insane.
short-lived because it was just one Olympics.
Mhm.
Because he was done at that point. He was just like, well, I won.
I've literally won everything I can win, so that's it for me.
I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
Well, but then he didn't stop. He
Well,
went
yeah,
on to
he become a coach,
Yep.
wrestling coach at Iowa
Iowa
State.
Yep.
And he was
And
he was kind of off the rails.
He went on to win another few national championships before he retired.
He won, I believe, 10 straight national championships for Iowa.
Before being cut off by Oklahoma State.
Did Oklahoma State?
That was the one that cut him off.
Oh.
Because he was talking.
I
About
couldn't tell. I know they did really well in like the last round, but
Yeah.
did Oklahoma State still win?
I believe they are the one that ended their streak.
Okay. John Smith, coach of Oklahoma State.
The thing is, that's about where the movie ends, right?
Yeah, and then it just says,
It shows him retiring.
and then it says, to this day, Dan prepares the year 2000 USA Olympic team, and we're like, still?
Yeah.
It's past the 2000s, Dan.
Yeah.
So that's what happens in the movie. But the real joy of this film comes from watching Dan coach his team and just
This movie is
having
just,
no idea where he is, literally asking where's north and where's south to his people. No one listening to him.
Just watching him kind of mindlessly like run around.
sometimes he looks like a disgruntled grandpa, and the other time he looks like a comedic sidekick from like Napoleon Dynamite. Oh, also we should say that right before the 1997 national championship, which is the one that they lost to Oklahoma State, he broke his hip or he fractured his hip or something, and he has like these two crutches that just look like two like rifles.
Yeah, they look
Yeah,
like
they
high-powered
look
assault
We
rifles.
thought like the first time we saw them, and they just went, and we're
We
just
thought
like,
he was about to and this is where it all went downhill. Dan Gable shot into a crowd at the wrestling tournament and killed 14 people.
yeah, but it was just crutches.
Yeah, just crutches.
Yeah, like 50% of this movie is just like watching just like beefy muscular guys working out and tackling each other.
And that's the thing, especially
Or
the
like trying
scenes
to make
where-
like basketball shots, or
Yeah, that scene
or
was
trying to figure out where
hilarious.
north or south is, or sleeping on just sweat-soaked wrestling
They
mats.
shove everyone into the sauna, cut to them just like sleeping in the gym.
I think a fun surprise that came out of this though was kind of like, going throughout watching this, you kind of like, at least I know I started to pick up some kind of like admiration and like, wow, that's really cool, and like there's actually a lot of technique behind this and like how they wrestle,
I have a new appreciation for wrestling as a sport.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
at least like college wrestling,
Mhm.
not
WWE
not
is
professional wrestling.
Oh come on, WWE is so fun. WWE is so cool, I swear.
Oh, I know.
I will die on this hill. WWE is one of the funniest things ever.
But I don't have very much respect for it.
I don't either, but it's so funny. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah. But anyways, that was pretty much the movie. That's got to be one of our shorter summaries.
This might be our shortest episode yet.
I mean, yeah, but to be fair, this was a documentary. It was a little harder to summarize because there wasn't like the like hard line.
Yeah,
like,
there's
narrative.
not-
yeah,
there's
event
not-
leads to event leads to event.
Oh, the hardline narratives that we got with Green Snake and Dark
just
Tower
like that.
and Monsters Christmas and
this
Where Have
was-
All the People Gone
Yeah.
and Seven Footprints to Say. I'm literally just
Yeah.
listing back every episode we've had in chronological order.
No, but really, this really just
No,
was
yeah.
a very straightforward biographical documentary. Very simple. Very not
The
a
thing
lot
is,
to it.
this wasn't like I don't think any of us were really like that into it. I want to put someone in a full Nelson, but each hand is a different person.
Do you want to make our two half Nelsons of E and a full Nelson right now?
Oh, proceed.
How are you doing?
This is a half Nelson.
Oh yeah, I was doing it wrong. There we go. But this wasn't like a terror from out of the skies where we fall asleep.
I thought we were gonna fall asleep.
I thought we were gonna
Yeah,
fall asleep.
there were definitely
but like
interesting highs.
it
wow,
it really wasn't like that. But it wasn't like a Dragon Gate Inn where we're like
This
really, like, this is cinematic.
This is the movie that your dad puts on the TV and then you play Scrabble whilst playing.
Yeah.
This is the perfect
in the other room,
HBO sports documentary.
Yeah, like this is about exactly what I would expect from it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just kind of like it's there. It has.
If you want to know about Dan Gables,
this is it.
I think we're kind of getting into it, so let's go ahead and do it.
Let's do it.
So, Grace, if you're in a wrestling competition, right, and your opponent has you pinned and goes, the only way you're gonna escape is if you tell me, is what, Freestyle, the Victories of Dan Gable worth it? What would you say?
No. I'm gonna say no.
This is a hard one.
This is a hard one because it's not as egregiously bad or boring as some of the others. If anything, this feels like a palate cleanser of what we've watched. This feels refreshing because it's not difficult view. What is it? What was it called? The last one we watched?
Green Snake.
Green Snake was difficult viewing.
Yeah.
It was hard to sit through.
I think so go ahead.
This was a simple watch. It's an HBO documentary. It's an HBO TV documentary about a wrestling coach. Like it's nothing. You're not missing anything by not watching it.
I am. Again, this is a really difficult one to judge because I am like the polar opposite of the target audience because I don't like sports, wrestling, or documentaries. Documentaries, like, okay, I like some documentaries, but they have to be on specific topics. But I am going to say that this movie is worth it if you like wrestling. I think if you like wrestling and stuff like that, I think this is going to be a very interesting, entertaining documentary for you to watch. Not the most interesting documentary. Like, again, like 50% of it is just like people working out. But there's some like interesting stuff. Although it would be a little bit. I think it would have been better if this was more like. What was that hockey movie where that one time USA beat the Soviet Union?
Oh yeah,
hockey?
Miracle on Ice.
Miracle on Ice, yeah, that one where it's like a huge underdog story or Hoosiers or
but this is just
any
really
of those.
straightforward.
I think the only thing special about Dan Gable is
it's just he was really good.
He was just kind of an anomaly. He was just insanely good at wrestling and then moved on.
The Cincinnatus of wrestling.
Yeah.
But no, it's just what I was getting to with that is just that obviously it's history, like it's what happened. But it would have been more interesting if there had been more of a struggle for him to achieve all this. But like it's just like they have to put so much focus on the one time he lost because he was so good.
It's like watching a romantic comedy, and in the beginning, when their relationship is going well, you think, I don't want this to go bad for them, and then nothing does go bad for them.
Yeah, that's basically that
their relationship
for
the rest of the time.
Yeah, and moving on, I think I'm going to go ahead and agree with Grace here. This is not worth it if you are me, or anybody else that isn't very interested in wrestling, isn't very interested in college sports. To some extent, though, I even feel like even if you were a wrestling fan, this is a very niche target audience for this movie. Even then, I feel like there are some questionable documentary decisions made in this movie. There's some like odd interviews that are out of place.
It wasn't an amazing documentary.
Yeah, I don't think just as a documentary. I don't think it's the most well made as a documentary. Like there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't need to be in the movie that you don't gain anything from learning.
It's very informative. It could be cut down a little bit though.
It might be the longest thing we watched.
We were just absorbing information. We were having a lot of fun with it, but I think that...
Were we, though?
I was.
We were having fun with it, yeah. But I think that was the only thing, really, that this movie was holding on to for me, is, like, how much fun we were having with it, despite me not being interested in wrestling, despite it being just an okay documentary. So that's why I'm going to give it a not worth it, and agree with Grace.
Yeah, no, I definitely... For me, personally, I would... no, it's not worth it for me, but I just think... Because I also like to consider the target audience in these.
For sure,
like Evil Heritage, for example, one that not worth it for me, but I think if that is the type of movie you like, you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that the target audience, well, I forget which one you said it, it's just so narrow. But I think that if you are that target audience, this is going to be a very fun watch. It's just sort of a standard HBO documentary. Yeah, no, I think that's about it. So, that concludes season 1.
That's it.
It's
a very anticlimactic
It was.
A very chill, very non-exciting, season finale. But stay tuned.
Enjoy the short episode.
Yeah.
Come back Sunday.
Yeah,
come back Sunday.
For what will no doubt be probably
Sunday,
a 3-hour
Sunday,
spectacular.
Definitely.
Because, oh boy, I think we're going to be talking a lot about it.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be a long one, but come back and check it out.
I think we're going to do a lot of final thought discussions on the different movies that we watch, because, obviously...
I think we do have some answers to change.
Yeah. But, until 2 days from now, I've been Ian.
I've been Grace.
And I've been Austin.
And this has been... Is It Worth It? And it was at that moment Dan Gable snapped.
He killed 19 people in the room before we could stop him.
He killed 23 people that night.
Each in sanctioned wrestling matches.
The judges didn't know what to do. They just kept on judging.